Hello and welcome to West Country Wanderings. 2.5 years ago I was finishing the Cotswold Way here right in the front of the famous Bath Abbey, and you join me again here today in the city of Bath. Not for a tour of Bath, the city as such, but to have a look and uncover the story of one of the city's founding fathers in terms of its architecture. Bath has UNESCO World Heritage status because of the wonderful carved Bath stone, and it has one man to thank for that architecture. And we're going to have a look shortly at one of his masterpieces, although sadly he died before the recreation of his vision could be completed. Outside here we'll be going through where the Roman baths are, straight up towards Gay Street in the direction of the Royal Crescent, although it's not the Royal Crescent that our journey and story starts here in Bath today. There is actually an opera singing here today, just outside the front of the Roman baths. I'd like to include more of her because she's absolutely brilliant, but unfortunately I'll get a copyright strike because of the music. But quick clip of her just singing now, but wonderful sound as it echoes around the magnificent buildings here in Bath. Currently walking up Gay Street, and behind me down there is Queen Square, another one of our architects' pieces of work here. Now if you look where we're going to, the Lincoln Street, Gay Street and Queen Square, from the air it makes the shape of a key, and that key is symbolic of this particular architect too, because there is a mystery surrounding him and about what he was about, and also his son who went on to build what we've got in front of us. I always admired this place. It gets overshadowed by its bigger and more well-known Royal Crescent, I think because of the landscape views below, but this place is magnificent. I'm standing in the circus, which for me is the finest part of the city of Bath. I've always been interested in these buildings here, how they come to be designed and who was the architect behind them. He has an interesting story, so I'll bring our character who designed these magnificent buildings here into our story right now. Our central character about the circus story is one John Wood the Elder. He was born in 1704 in nearby Twerton. He went to a local school, and he was also the son of a local builder called George, so an unremarkable beginning to what he later created and designed. After the schooling in Bath, he actually moved to Yorkshire, some way away from where we are in Somerset here in Bath, of course, and he went to Balham Estate in Yorkshire, where he learnt some ideals. He was a self-learner, self-taught. He read books all about the architecture. He didn't have a mentor as such. His guiding light was himself. and he had a vision. He had a vision for his own home city of Bath and what he wanted it to look like. Bear in mind that what we've seen on the walk up Gay Street and here at Circus looked nothing like that before John Wood had his vision. Around this area was fields, and he developed later on lots of parts of Bath that we're now familiar with, including Queen's Square and the Minerals Hospital, which is now closed by the NHS, and it looks like it is undergoing some refurbishment for its new purpose, but he designed that as well. So what happened, and how did he get the vision for the circus here? Through his readings, his site visits to magnificent country estates, and also his keen interest in ancient British history, John Wood had a vision to recreate his home city of Bath into what he believed it would have looked like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Bath, as we know it now, was a Roman city. Of course, we have the Roman baths and evidence of that. And he knew that when the Romans lived here in Aqua Sulis, it was a magnificent place. But between when the Romans left and when John Wood was alive, the city had lowered down in terms of its status, standing, and how it looked. And he wanted to recreate the vision that the Romans had for this special place here in Somerset. Now, to bring John Wood's vision alive was not an easy process. His ideas were hampered by the money men, the landowners, the church, and especially the council. They didn't want to be involved in his plans at all. They couldn't see the purpose of it. However, he had a saviour, one Robert Gay, hence the name of Gay Street. And now he was an interesting character from London. He was a barber surgeon, and he owned a lot of the land outside of what was then the city walls here in Bath, known as Walcott, the Walcott Farm Estate. And he approached Gay to see if he could develop some of those ideas on his land, and he thankfully agreed to do just that. Now, as well as being a successful visionary and brilliant architectural creative, John Wood was also a very distinct and powerful businessman with keen ideas. He leased the land in what is now known as Queen's Square from Rob Gay from £137 a year. And what he then did was designed and built the frontages. And he then sublet out the land behind those frontages with the proviso the people that were renting the land and the frontages that they had to complete the rest of the building work and the roofs within a 2-year building period. After the building work had been completed, he would then charge them a higher rate in each subplot let, which brought up his entire income, and from what he was amassing from the Queen's Square project, he could then roll that over and put it into other projects throughout the city here in Bath. Now, because John Wood was also interested in ancient British history as well as architecture, in 1740 he decided to survey two of the most famous stone circles, both then and now. One of them lies in Wiltshire, the other one in Somerset, and they of course are Stonehenge and Stanton Drew. Now, his surveys of Stonehenge were extremely detailed. He did hundreds and hundreds of measurements. And his plans, although they weren't praised at the time, are rather valuable now, because some of the stones that he measured and put on his plan were moved and some fell down some 50 years later. So we have him to thank for maintaining the history of Stonehenge. Now, as he was looking at the plans of Stonehenge and Stanton Drew, ideas were coming to him. The circular format of the Stonehenge and Stanton Drew stone circles gave him the inspiration for the circus here in Bath. What's unusual and fascinating about John Wood's design for the circus? In fact, it's three sections. You have three separate layers, one on top of the other, and all the designs are different. The bottom layer here is known as Greek Doric. Above that, have a look at that there. There we go. The next one, that is Roman Composite. And finally, right at the very top there is Corinthian, Roman Composite, Greek Doric at the bottom. Very, very clever. A lot of the visitors that come to the circus, including me for many years, weren't aware this combinational architectural structure, like a layer cake if you like. You can imagine it as just like being a circular wedding cake. It's just incredible design, it really is. Now there is a bit of a tragedy to it, because after the first stone was laid here at the circus, John Wood died just 3 months later, so he never saw his magnificent addition to the wonders of the architecture of Bath come to fruition. However, it was continued on because he had a son, also called John Wood, and he finished the project off. It wasn't completed until 1769, because obviously you can imagine it took a considerable amount of time to complete, but it stands as a testament to John Wood the Elder. John Wood the Elder is now praised. He has a magnificent legacy, and we have him to thank because he revived Bath's fortunes. In Regency time, it became the socialites' paradise, and lots of famous people came here. Of course, Jane Austen Association, it was known as the place where you come to with the magnificent ballrooms, all the gaiety and society that went on with those. And it was because of him and the legacy he created with this incredible piece of wonderful architecture and all the other pieces of architecture that he has left around the magnificent city of Bath, that it thrives still today. Thank you very much for watching West Country Wanderings today. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you on the channel again very, very soon. All the best for now. Cheers. Goodbye.